Or hello. I forgot he's so big now. Okay. Last part. We got the alcohol for what's his name? Asterion. This big ass bull. I'm fine cursing here. Uh yeah, we got this huge bull on the screen, and then we got this dragon in the back. It's gonna be nice. What else was there I had last time? We got the alcohol. Asterion played. Oh yeah, Asterion played the lute for us. I think it was called like a harp. He played the harp for all the guests at the hotel. All right, let's get into it. Let me get something to drink though. A night rages and cheers only for a short while. Time always takes its due. Still, they had no grief at all. They danced and drank, laughed and sang until their voices grew hoarse and eyes dimmed. And further, they celebrated as if somehow a victory could be made eternal, if it burned bright enough. Sitting at the sidelines of the lounge, surrounded by mankind was locked inside his mind. The Minotaur lost himself in thought. He has too much muscle, guys. Such a human thing. Did the guests and the master perhaps know it? The archaic ritual taught by his old friend. Celebrate and live for a whole night. Do not cease until your back burns out all its weight, and under no circumstance allow the burnt bonfire to go out. Then take a handful of embers, grayed and crumbling on the outside, still harboring a red heart. Pour a stream of your finest wine, saved from festivities, to kill the night's fire. Okay. Old Phronos swore he overheard it during the priestess's initiation, when she was instructed on the mysteries of Crete's old goddess. The ritual, he said, could make a moment everlasting. It would leave demons behind, a memory of the night etched on the land and lodged in the mind of its witnesses. He said the ember's last thread of smoke would be gathered by prayers, Zeus's daughters, and be brought to the graces of fates or the hours for their weaving. The more he explained, the looser his conception of the ceremony became. What silly nonsense, Asterion thought then. Back in Crete, he is just saying it to cheer me up again. But the Minotaur did steal a cup of his father's wine, and together they drowned the embers, hand-picked from the basin in the courtyard, where the bonfire had raged. He never believed such a ritual could work. He knew a handful of mysteries himself, and none were as simple, as innocent as that. Even in their kindest moments, the old gods charged in blood. He still did it, because regardless of the gods, it made nights unforgettable in his mind. Sometimes raw belief, lacking in any form of binding magic, is enough to make something true. That was long ago. He had witnessed so many festivities in all these centuries as the hotel's keeper. Each one pushed him further towards believing that Phronos' ritual was merely a manifestation of humanity's drive to find immortality. It is only human to seek eternity, the exquisite lie that the flow of time can be stopped, trapping oneself in a bubble no tragedy can burst. Phronos wished for that mercy in Crete thousands of years ago, and humanity yearns for it still. Believing in such old rituals from a time whose very gods have gone missing, silly nonsense, bland indulgence. Jesus. Still, that night after the concert, the Minotaur went to bed with his hands covered in ashes. What an exquisite time they had, the fatigue of it all catching up to him. A tension in his chest made the room spin around him. His fingertips were freezing. He did not notice when it happened, but pulling a single lungful of air became a laborious task. Asterion knew this too well. Time, after all, demands his due, and for every joy, a greater sorrow is sure to follow. He drew a breath. A prisoner such as him was not allowed happiness. His mind told him this even as he remembered the pleasantness of the evening. He drew a breath. He forgot that he was meaning to sleep, forgot to close his eyes. The Minotaur stared at the ceiling, as thoughts became half-thoughts, and the tightness in his chest became a heaviness in his shoulders and tension in his hands. He drew a breath. A price must be paid. There's always a catch. The sheets around him bunched up into valleys and peaks. Disquiet fought against the weariness. He drew a breath. Restless sleep took over him. While he felt too heavy to move, a sullen tiredness in his mind, deeper than sleep, pulled him into the valley of sheets. Whispers about his nature, words he had not allowed himself to mutter for nearly a century now. Still, he remembered the embers and the wine. Every so often, he could force himself to remember the good things, footnotes, though his mind made them. Morning cracked his skull open, but no dream slipped out in a sprint. The bedroom seemed just as it has always been, so cramped it threatened to crush him. Walls so white they burned his eyes, and shelves decorated with Jean Mary's bug-eyed carvings. He remembered to breathe, then bit his tongue. The pain became, without hurry, dull and throbbing. But the Minotaur's eyes felt different, as if overnight they skipped autumn and drove into winter. If the mind were a muscle, it would be hobbling about, aching with overwork. Asterion told himself to look to the door, but didn't. Stared up, told himself to look toward the door frame. Remember to breathe, prayed the hybrid. He drew a breath, told himself to get up, but didn't. He clenched his hands, felt nails sinking into his palm. There were obsidian hunks tied to his limbs, waist, eyes. Even each fold of his brain was weighed down with hooks. If the gods had sent him here a shred of mercy, such weight could have crushed him entirely and ended his existence. But they made him strong and resilient to bear the load. This vessel was not made to break. He knew, even if the creatures of this realm were eager to try. The only movement made as he finally drew his eyes to the side was an aimless clenching and unclenching of his hands. There had always been many times over his everlasting existence when Asterian's spirit had felt emptied of vigor or substance like this. At least a handful of times per year for the last 2 millennia, without fail, although time became mushier inside the cold room. But it had not always been this case. He couldn't afford such bland indulgence when monsters chased him. Perhaps it was a jest from the gods themselves. He remembered to breathe. When a human came who sought to end his trials, yet another punishment came, this time from his own mind. But enough dawdling, little star. You must rise again, regardless. There is a delay between commanding his body to move and having it muster the will to obey. He pushes himself up, with the clumsiness of a marionette, willing against his inertia in his brain. There is an amount of breathing room between each limb's movement to get himself up, as if all the force gained from a night of sleep is required. He gazes at the mirror. Welcome back to your old self, little star. Are you ready to see the internet? Witness the latest creation of human ingenuity. They never stopped, these sharp-eyed humans, with intricate creations their fine fingers craft. Asterion looked at his hand, at the knobbly knuckles and thick nails, each knot tied with rough, ragged rope. Yes, of course. Great. This is a tablet. It's a kind of computer that uses touch controls. By the way, I mean, just tap on the screen. It's very intuitive. And, I can't see anything. Am I doing it wrong? No, it's fine. I haven't unlocked it yet. Here, I just press the button and... I took the liberty of setting it up for you. Knowing you have a hard time with the movements, I made sure things would be big and easy to tap. Do you think these are large enough? I can expand the icons more still. Thank you, sir. This is adequate. Oh, he's not happy. Although, I hope I didn't impose on you. A chore. Was setting up a difficult? Not at all. Tablets all come with accessibility settings. Tailoring it to your needs as a trivial matter. Accessibility. Only humans could fathom such a thing. The gods have no love or care for Hephaestus and her imperfections. Oh, that is very kind of them. Thinking about the disgracefully uncoordinated like me. Wow. The man looks down to the hybrid. Asterion gazes at his eyes. He never understood why people had such a fascination for the color of each other's irises. To him, the white surrounding them was much more enthralling. Nature had been kind to him in that regard, at least. Rather than the beady blackness of a cow's eyes, he had been blessed with a fine pair of human ones, white and all. Perhaps it was something in the way Lucien's eyes hesitated as he searched for words, or maybe it was the Minotaur's brain slipping up for a second. But before Lucien could speak, the Minotaur felt centuries' worth of aging lifting from his back. I wouldn't put it like that. Lots of people have injuries or special needs, but regardless of that, everyone gets old someday. We will all need help. He chewed on it. The tone was kind. The master spoke almost like singing, but as the words were sewed together, they became thorny. Asterion bit his tongue. Was he old? Or perhaps old in the same sense a human could be? His body was the best it had been in 80 years, but all that time in the end, in the cold room, never left him as tired as this. It was a kind of exhaustion that made even opening one's eyes an insurmountable task. Old or disabled, the Minotaur needed this accessibility invention. Do I have special needs or am I just old? Asterion mumbled it. His tongue felt bloated today. He had to grind his teeth to stop it from peeking out of his mouth. The master could not distinguish what he had said. Sorry, what did he say? Moo. The master's eyes scrutinize him. They appreciate every feature of his face, as if trying to glimpse into the Minotaur's mind. His heart skips a beat, while he realized how disposable a toy Asterion is. What? The hybrid cannot say what would come next, but it must be better than this feeling of being suspended and waiting for trial. Are you feeling well, Asterion? You seem a bit distressed today. Asterion looks away and draws a breath. His chest tightens and he opens his mouth. Leaves it hanging, in fact, as what he meant to say escapes him. He blinks, lets his eyelids fall as he exhales. It's such a hard thing. It's so hard thinking with all those hooks on his brain. He has to string every word together, then break it all down into mouth movements, exhales and inhales, glances at his hand, and gestures. And the delay is there, making it all worse. A gap as the sea is deep and just as dark. But when he closes his eyes and allows himself to dream, images flow like water from a spring. The Minotaur opened his mouth and drew a breath. The images sprung forth, words chained themselves together. By the gods, I should have told him that it feels like I'm turning to stone. Lucian must know what I mean, what it means, and what I should do. Asterion? But there must be a catch to him. There is always one. Are you okay? But regardless, he is not unkind. If I am to serve him, and to perform this duty well, perhaps he knows that how I can be made better. Sorry. I should tell him. A hand warms the Minotaur's forearm. You don't seem too well. The Minotaur looks up to the human. His eyes are unmoving, not afraid or sad, but looking through the master, as if trying to focus on his face was too difficult of a command. The Minotaur draws breath and speaks before a kinder part of his mind can take control. I'm just struggling to wake up. Oh, it's true, we haven't eaten anything yet. How about I teach you some of the basics and then I go back to get last night's leftovers? I hid some of the appetizers in the lounge's fridge. Asterion grunts, not really listening, just asserting his vague and ever-present agreement to whatever the master has to say. Okay, so just recapping, with a computer we can access the internet and find all sorts of stuff. Do you remember what the internet is? Good question. Asterion's eyes shift. The internet. Yes. He had taken note of it, didn't he? He commanded his arm to move towards his leg, then his fingers to align so he could reach into his pocket. He pulled out that scrap of paper, then opened his hand, picked the paper, unfold it. Yes, of course. The internet is a network of networks under a set of open and public protocols across cables, satellites, radio, and many other communication technologies. Did I get that right? Yep. Let's start. Now, I want you to tap on the icon on the left corner. Could you do that for me? Just tap it with my finger. That's right. There's no mystery to it. Just tap, tap. Okay, like this? So, what did you want to search first? I don't... How do I tell what I want to know? Just tap here, in the little light bar, and now the keyboard will pop up. These symbols, are they normal? What do you mean? The keyboard should show the alphabet. It's nothing out of the ordinary. Oh no. I think I broke it. What? No way. You haven't done anything wrong. Is my finger bad? Did I touch it wrong? The screen looks normal to me. The Minotaur glares at the screen, trying to make sense of all the symbols, what odd lines they are, but they do awaken a sense of familiarity. His brain itches as if struggles to connect together, an ancient mind with more recent knowledge. His ears flick. He hears a racket of metal mechanisms tick-tacking and ringing around at the cramped bedrock. It was coming to him, the name of the machine. A typewriter. They had been such an issue. The letters themselves have no meaning, no soul behind them. The hotel's translation could do nothing to impose order. During all the millennia, the Minotaur had spoken the language of his people without a care to learn whatever new tongue was the fad at its time. The fad? What is that? Was the fad at its time. Although, to be more precise, for a good few centuries, he had devolved into the habit of making new words, so much so that the old Minoan had become quite unlike what he had spoke as a child. But it all changed when typewriters were invented. The letters alone eluded him. He had to learn other languages and alphabets then. This is a typewriter. The hotel doesn't like them. Huh? Why is that? It only understands meaning and words, not what they're made of. It all breaks down. Oh, is there a thing I can do then? I could read and type for you. It wouldn't be an issue. He drew breath. The more he looked at the alphabet, how similar it was to the Greeks he invented, the less he felt the hooks on his brain. I can remember the letters, the words too. He tapped the screen. He meant to press the O, but tapped the P instead. An old annoyance. Simpler days returned to his mind when Jean-Marie was still alive, and they were drafting contracts down at the Bedrock. He never mastered the typewriter, but he was decent enough to use it slowly. He could conquer it again. I can face this. Lucien continues staring at the Minotaur. Is that a twinge of worry? Then it grows soft. His voice, as soon as it comes out, sounds like velvet. Of course you can. You've kept this hotel running for so long. Memorizing an alphabet won't be hard for you. Excuse me? What did you say? You kept this place up and running, right? Masters came and went, but you were the constant. You're the very competent and hard-working. That's clear to me. Hard-working. The gods had made him strong to carry a load no regular man could. He was a beast of burden, yes. Asterion could take pride on that. You deal with the guests, manage check-ins and check-outs, repair the bedrooms, even cook if necessary. And last night, you went as far as providing entertainment. We've just reopened the hotel, and it's already doing so well, in no small part thanks to you. Is memorizing an alphabet a difficult task to someone as quick-witted as you? The hotel is doing well, the Minotaur thought. In any other context, bitter thoughts would pop into his mind. No, the hotel is still a shell of its former self. We are only housing a dozen or two guests. We barely have any staff. But when it came to its own subject, his mind was clouded, or unclouded. Yes, the hotel is doing well. Repairing such a big place in less than 2 weeks was nothing short of a miracle. Guests coming around now wouldn't even imagine this place had it been left in ruins for 80 years. This was one good thing. Whatever violence and disgrace the gods saw it fit to impose on him came twofold as blessings for his home. He would serve well if it meant the prosperity of his one good thing. I am proud of the hotel. The Minotaur's voice rumbled, followed by a harsh snort and flicker of his ears. As you should. Is that an order? Consider it a friend's suggestion, and a partner's recommendation. Partner? Partner, what a peculiar word. Asterion glanced to the side. He had to string every command together. He could feel his eyeballs dragging inside their sockets. He drew breath, then dug his nails in the palms of his hands. Partner, Phronius used to call him, back in Crete, all the way until that night. A white bird flying off under the moonlight. The Minotaur aimed his bow and drew the string. It was not too different from plucking his lyre. that last tension before letting go. For Phronios, that everlasting friend, but first of all, his brother, intrepid Androgeus, he set the arrow loose. Androgeus, he set the arrow loose. Partner. They were hunting together that night, but by the end of it, Phronios had calmed something else. And that was the last they saw of each other. But at times it felt like his master was Phronios, or Androgeos, ghost even, flesh. They all had such honeyed tongues. We are business partners, aren't we? We are in this together. Asterion returned his gaze. I am afraid that is not something the hotel or the valley would be willing to recognize. My sentence, after all, contracts that stray too far from threatening me as a prisoner would be ineffective. What do you mean by that exactly? The master can command the realm to do his bidding. Oh. But there are rules and principles that stand above. If you try to pass a contract or command that just disregards them, your order will not become binding. The same way you cannot summon currency. You can't sign an order or something, I am your equal. That would be against the labyrinth's principles. So, I cannot be your business partner. As far as the labyrinth is concerned, that is just not possible. Lucian looks off to the side, lost in thought. Could there be a loophole? Do we really need a contract for this? Yeah, do we really need a contract? I don't think we do. Now that is quite a puzzle. But does it really matter what the labyrinth thinks or wants? If I tell people you are my partner, and that's objectively how we work together, doesn't that make us partners? What bold ideas, though Minotaur feels the hummingbirds pricking at the back of his skull. He grits his teeth, and Lucian notices. But it would seem we got sidetracked. I was supposed to show you the internet. Yes, sir. So, tap here. We can begin with a few searches. I'm sure there's a lot you want to know about the outside world. Again, the peculiar alphabet popped on the screen. This time, however, it was stringed into stubborn words that didn't bend to the realm's translation. But they weren't unfamiliar. Memory sparked, those loose strings tied into knots. The hotel's translation isn't working. That's weird. I can read it just fine, although I suppose it's because I already speak English. I wouldn't notice anything going wrong. Is this an issue? English, no. I can read it. I learned it after we started using typewriters. I can read it. I'll just need a minute to familiarize myself. Yeah. What language have you been speaking so far? My language. What does that mean? It's my language. It was Cretan. It used to be. But with time, if everything gets translated, then I tinker with it and make it with my own. I had a hard time with certain sounds, so I just changed it, made it however I felt right. So, it used to be a Minoan, but it's not anymore. It's my language. My language. Rough, bullish lips bending in odd angles, a tongue too long and thick. During the day, his wet nurse taught him the words, repeating each one 100 times. A prince must speak well, she said. Every other week his mother would spend a night with him. Her eyes wandered, crawling up the ceiling, and her little limp-wristed hands grasp about like a baby's. She spoke as if her mouth was always full of pebbles. Her syllables would blur together. The vowels stuttered and were washed away by her accent. Father said it was her madness speaking. The wet nurse said she came from a godly place beyond the sea. That was their accent. Asterion drank every precious moment with his mother, including her slurred song. That is kind of how I speak. I am very sorry. Oh, God. He could never tell if his accent came from his bestial form or from her influence. But in the labyrinth, he let it go, took bits and pieces from people over the centuries, stitched together something rough, shoddy, and perfect. I made my own language. I see. I wasn't expecting that, but can you read English just fine? If not, I can help you. Master shouldn't worry. Yes, I'm remembering now. What should I do next? We can start by searching for something you want to know. Try typing it. What you're curious about. Yes, sir. To take a glimpse at the outside world, a few things did come to mind. He thought about them so much during these decades. Tech. How to make a website. What do we search? I read the bull, right? Read the bull? Read the bull? Alright, I don't know. I don't really care about tech at the moment, but I want to see him. I wonder how Crete is doing these days. The place of Nosnos was discovered in the late 1800s and excavated in the early 1900s. So they found it. So little bit of is left of, but that's it. It's where I grew up. This courtyard. When I was a child, I used to play here with my brother, Andragios. How was it, living back then? It was nice, I suppose. If you were wondering about all the modern comforts, running water, electricity, we don't have any of that. But we lived well, better than most. I even had my room of my own. I knew a few children from that time could say, oh my god, but we lived well, better than most. I even had a room of my own. I know a few children from that time could say the name. I had a bodyguard to keep me safe. We stick together, always. Although, that may not be the best way to put it. He was only 7 years older than me when he became my, shall we say, guardian. I must have been 4 years old. My time in the palace was quite enjoyable, in no small part thanks to him. His name was Phronios. But make no mistake, I did have responsibilities. I performed ceremonial duties very often. Phronios always gave me company, and Andragios would too, when his obligations allowed. I wonder what else I can find in the internet. Alright, let's do Master Jean Mara. There is a place I've been curious about for quite a while now. Perhaps have you heard of it? The region of Bordeaux? That name rings a bell, yes. It is a region of France. Yes, I believe it is. Now, what will your internet tell me about it? France's most prominent wine-making region. Huh. I suppose Master Jean-Marie was not bragging. His family's wine must have been quite remarkable. It was captured by Germans during World War II. Oh, I suppose that makes sense. But it seems to be quite doing well right now. That's a relief. Did Jean-Marie come from this region? Yes. It's what he used to call his ancestral homeland. He was a patriot. No land on earth was as beautiful as his noble land. He couldn't bear to hear France's situation in the war. No amount of pleading could stop him from going. The Minotaur could still feel it, the ringing inside his head. from when Jean Mary died. And the rest, I suppose, is history. I wonder what it feels like walking through one of those vineyards. It must be refreshing, sun on your back, maybe a chilly wind cutting through the grapevines, leaves brushing against your arms. I could use some of that. We can make one. How about it? Our very own vineyard. What? But why? Because I can. I can just make things pop into existence. Why not use it for some fun and nice like that? My good lord. If only things were so simple. It would be quite the tricky affair, I'm afraid. Why? What's stopping us? Contracts, for starters. This land is not hospitable for life. Plus, that would distract us from our own mission and the hotels, wouldn't it? I suppose you're right. Well, I should not lie. A vineyard would be nice. Who knows, maybe one day if it's still your wish. This is a nifty invention, this internet thing. How to make a website. The Minotaur takes his fingers off the screen for a moment and fidgets with them while looking away. Master, if I may ask. Sure, go ahead. You mentioned in the lounge that people use the internet to work, yes? Such as connecting people and selling things? Yes. And making stations to show other people. If you mean web pages, yes, you can do that. How do you make a web page of your own? That is a complicated question. There are pages and services that make it easier, but I think you would benefit from little more experience with computers before trying it. Why do you ask? What website did you have in mind? Asterion fidgets on his seat before responding. I don't have any concrete ideas. I just wanted to see how one was made. When I first used a typewriter, I didn't really have anything in mind. I just wanted to try and see how it worked. I feel the same just now. I don't think you're quite ready for HTML at the moment. Baby steps, Asterion. Baby steps? I mean, take it easy. You'll learn as you go. Let's keep it simple for now. Anything else you'd like to search? Could it? The silliest idea came to me. Perhaps it's the hubris of me to even consider it. The Minotaur's ears flick, and his snout takes on a livelier shade of pink. Could the internet have something about me? Oh, wrong voice. Of course. There's a whole legend about you, dating back to who knows when. We can find plenty of stuff. Although, I don't know, these are kind of the same thing. There are many misconceptions about you. You might not like what you see. I don't know. I'll do this one. I'm not sure if you'll understand this word. History painted a very unkind picture of you. I'd go as far as saying it's slanderous. I see. Yes, I cannot say I'm surprised. The Athenians were not kind in their telling of what happened. I have known of that for a long time. Let's see. Asterion of Crete? Oh, there is something here. Even if it's not about me, Asterion I became king of Crete after the death of his father, Tactimus. King Tactimus. Tactamus. After Europa was abducted and taken by Zeus, he married her and became the stepfather to Zeus's sons. Huh. Not what I wanted, but this is nice. A shard of my family's history lives. Is that your grandfather? Not exactly. He lived a long time before me. I can't even recall how many generations we are apart. There's not much here, I suppose. Most of it would be forgotten, but further down it says, Asterion, the second Minotaur. Oh. Asterion the second, the Minotaur. Let's see. what they have about me. The Minotaur's eyes leaped from the sentence to sentence. Pasiphae, struck by Poseidon's madness, recruited by the artisan's Daedalus to craft a hollow cow, with which she took the bull's lurch. The hybrid child, said to have the body of a man and the head of a bull, had no place in the natural order and nothing to sustain it. As such, he grew violent and took consuming human flesh. King Minos commanded Athens to send youths as tributes to feed him, 7 youths, among which even Theseus, heir to Athens' throne. Ariadne, the Minotaur's sister, became enraptured by the Athenian hero and confided in him the secret that the labyrinth could not be conquered with a ball of yarn. That the labyrinth could be conquered with a ball of yarn. With Ariadne's assistance, Theseus solved it and vanquished the Minotaur. He escaped Crete with the princess, but abandoned her in the island of Naxos, where it is believed that she met her, and or was kidnapped by Dionysus. Okay. As you can tell, I probably not have read a book since like a month ago. In the aftermath of Minotaur's death, Crete fell from hegemonic position over the Mediterranean. King Minos set out in pursuit of Daedalus, seeking revenge for he believed it was the craftsman who believed... What? Ty? King Minos set out in pursuit of Daedalus, seeking revenge for he believed it was the craftsman who revealed Ariadne to the secret to the labyrinth. The secret solution to the labyrinth. We're gonna redo that. Holy shit. Oh, that's... okay. Pasiphae struck the Poseidon's madness, recruited the artisan Daedalus to craft a hollow cow, with which she took a bull's lurch. The hybrid child, said to have the body of a man and the head of a bull, had no place in the natural order and nothing to sustain it. As such, he grew violent and took the consuming of human flesh. King Minos commanded Athens to send youths as tribute to feed him, 7 youths, among which was Theseus, heir to Athens' throne. Ariadne, the Minotaur's sister, became enraptured by the Athenian hero and confided in him the secret of the labyrinth could be conquered with a ball of yarn. With Ariadne's assistance, Theseus solved it and vanquished the Minotaur. He escaped Crete with the princess, but abandoned her in the island of Naxos, where it was believed she was either met her end or was kidnapped by Dionysus. In the aftermath of Minotaur's death, Crete fell from the hegemonic position over the Mediterranean. King Minos set out in pursuit of Daedalus, seeking revenge for he believed it was the craftsman who revealed it to Ariadne, the secret solution to the labyrinth. This in turn led to Minos' death, boiled alive in a foreign court. The death of the Minotaur marks the fall of Crete and the rise of Athens as the man in power, as a main in Athens is a main power in the Mediterranean. The loss of the centralized ruling figure had led to fragmentation, which in turn allowed it to be conquered by different civilizations over the course of its history. I don't know how to support that. Okay. If you'd like to hear a word of caution, not everything you find online is true. I imagine that they can be distressing. Seeing yourself misrepresented. You're not at all like the legend says. It's outright slander. We both know better how you're hardworking and very important to the hotel. And to the people here, that's the truth. That matters. That's the truth that matters, okay? That said it might be for the best if you don't focus too much on what the internet says about you. There are better things for you to search about. The Minotaur draws a breath, holding himself back from coughing. It's fine. Nothing I didn't know already. The Athenians were not kind in their telling of the tale. We have our own version of the story, you know. That won't matter. Well, I was thinking of going down to the lounge. If I recall correctly, there are some leftovers from last night we could eat. If you want, you can stay here and keep browsing the internet. Does that sound good? The Minotaur's fingertips were ice cold. His hooves radiated a dull pain that crawled all the way up to his top of the horn. He drew a breath. His fingers curled on the device's surface. His ears went numb as the streak of cold sweat ran down his back. Yes, it will be fine. I'll be fine. Thank you, sir. See you soon, Asterion. The Minotaur closed his eyes and recalled it all. The dozens, perhaps hundreds of retellings he had heard across the centuries. Each one more horrible than the previous, so often revolving around that fundamental misinformation that he had been a cannibal. I mean, such a life-changing lie. And yet, there was something comforting in that simple fact. Cannibalism aside, what he read was exactly what he expected. See you soon, my lord. Once more the sound of your footsteps echo up and down the stairwell from the skylight, so far above down to the depths below. Each one sounds somehow lonely without the now familiar clopping of Asterion's hooves keeping time with them. There is no low humming, murmuring voice just above and behind your shoulder. No massive body brushing against your side, and even pulling away after lingering for the briefest moment. There is no conversation or even companionable silence. There is just you and the staircase. As you take the steps down, your mind drifts back to the night before, to the celebration of the hotel's revival, to Asterion's concert, to Asterion including you in his prayers, and your shared commitment to uphold the hotel's mission. How much difference a single night makes, and yet how little in the face of years of previous experiences, centuries in Asterion's case. You poke your head into the lobby, checking for any early morning arrivals when you're met only with the silence and solitude. You make your way towards the light and life, as hungover and heavy-headed as it may be, of the lounge. The group of Middle Eastern students are huddled around the same table near their hearth. They had occupied the night before, sharing an animated conversation over streaming cups of coffee. And Kota himself nods along with Luke's chattering, while the Griffin scarfs down his breakfast. So anyway, what you doing? What you think? Okay. Could be pretty dang fun, huh? Perhaps. Come on, blue boy. A little music, a little stargazing. I can make us some snacks. Oh, you ever try a pickle pop? Make 'em big enough and you'll lick 'em pretty much all night long. Was that an innuendo? You want it to be? The Griffin tries to keep a straight face, but struggles as the seconds tick away. He finally bursts into a fit of giggling, while Kota rolls his eyes. But seriously, pretty much everything's a lot more fun when you do it with someone else. No funny business, I promise. Just two men appreciating the beauty of the night sky together. Well, you better spend some time with one of your trysts. Hey, stuff like that never lasts long as you want it to. Luke's gaze grows distant, and a wistful sigh escapes his beak. Come on, please. I promise I'll make it worth your while. We can even get Lucian and Asterion along for the ride. Make it a real get-together. What's this about now? The pairs look over to you when you speak up. You move to make the stool next to Luke, and the griffin wipes his beak and his forearm and greets you with a wide grin. Good morning, Lucian. Luke was just telling me about his idea to go stargazing and wished for me to join him. And what brought this on? Well, I guess it's just banging around my brain for a while now. See, a couple nights ago, I was thinking shit over. It was just a little after I got here. And, well, you know. He glances over at Kota, and then clears his throat and continues. Anyway, I saw Asterion out on the porch playing the harp thingy. We ended up shooting the shit and laid some stuff out for me and that I think I needed to hear. But the stars, man, it was like staring at the face of God. I always loved looking at the stars, and I just thought, well, what's better than doing with some friends? Oh, so we're friends now, are we? The griffin shifts and squirms on his stool with an awkward chuckle. Well, I mean, I just thought, you know... Kota hums, low and rumbling, as he crosses his arms and closes his eyes, thinking, considering. I suppose I could make something like that. Something to take my mind off things. Don't misunderstand, Lucian. I'm grateful for the work. But running around to serve the guests while trying to figure out where things are disappearing to is more tiring than anticipated. What's disappearing? Kota shrugs. The strangest thing. It's usually food, but even the utensils aren't entirely safe. I'll set a few trays out, turn around, and find them picked over the moment I look back. Even the cold room has occasional can or jar missing. That's really weird. I don't think one of our guests would be sneaking into the kitchen for food when they can just have it served up. Could the hotel be doing it somehow? I don't think so. But I will admit, you or Asterion would know far more than I would know in all how this works. I guess I can ask him. But yeah, if you need a break, then this could be good. After everything, that's what happened after the few days. Jesus, okay. Could the hotel be doing it somehow? I don't think so, but I will admit, you or Asterion would know far more than I in how all this works. We're gonna go with that. I guess I can ask him. But yeah, if you need a break, then this could be good. After everything that's happened over the last few days, I think we could all use it. Alright, that's the plan then. The griffin hops off the stool, stretching his body and lashing his tail with an enthusiasm. Oh man, this is gonna be great. We can get a few cases of beers out and get some lawn chairs and set them up. I should not be reading today. The griffin hops off his stool, stretching his body and lashing his tail in enthusiasm. Oh man, this is gonna be great. We can get a few cases of beers out and get some lawn chairs and set up, and... Luke pauses and grins, looks at you. Hey, think your hotel magic could whip up a telescope for us? It's difficult to make complicated objects. You have to be able to tell the hotel how. But I think there are some schematics for different machines, telephones, stuff like that, down in the bedrock. Asterion told me he got everything organized in one of the tables. You could take a look there and see if you can find anything for a telescope. If not, I could try to get something drawn up. In the bedrock, huh? Luke hems and haws for a long moment. He scratches at the underside of his beak. His tail flicks behind him. Alright. You open the way, and me and Blue Boy find those scamajiggers. Oh, skamajiggers in a jiffy. Excuse me. Well, yeah. Two pairs of eyes will find that what we're looking for faster than one, right? The dragon looks at you, and you give him a helpless shrug in return. Luke's right. Even if Kota doesn't want to admit it, all three of you know it. You're going to pest me until I say yes, aren't you? Yep. In the fact of the griffin's shameless smile, Kota can only sigh, shaking his head and reassign his face. Reassign himself to this fate. Very well. I suppose we should make her... I suppose we should... Very well. I suppose we should make our way down sooner rather than later, yes? Hey, listen. Before you do, can I tell you something? You glance around and gesture to the dragon and griffin in close. It's about Asterion. Is everything alright? I think so, it's just... Kota and Luke wait for you to gather your thoughts. You weigh each word before you speak, trying to decide how much to tell them. How much you have the right to tell them. He's been going through a lot. You remember how the hotel was when we first reopened, right? The dragon nods. His expression is grave as he waits, patient and placid. You wait for it to for you to continue. He waits, patient and placid, for you to continue. Well, the dragon nods. His expression is grave as he waits, patient and placid, for you to continue. Well, he is family. His family hasn't been able to keep the hotel in good shape since the last master abandoned it. When I came around, it was just Asterion here. So he's been through a lot, and things can get difficult for him sometimes. I know he had fun last night, but this morning he might need a little time. Luke nods. He then speaks in a quiet, even tone that's surprising to hear from the griffin. He can take all the time he needs. We ain't gonna force him to come out with us. But if he's feeling better by tonight, both you sure come to join the fun. Thank you, Luke. The griffin tips you a wink, and his heavy paw claps you on the shoulder. Of course, it's the last thing I can do for you and him. So, shall we? Yes. Right. With that said and done, the three of you break your huddle. You open the passage to the bedrock for them, humming just like Asterion thought you. After seeing the griffin and dragon off, you resolve to check in on what else needs to be done. The hotel is alive once more, and it is the master's duty to take care of the guests who pass through its open doors. But first, breakfast. The griffin and dragon make their way down the winding stone hallway. Their footsteps echo in the silence surrounding them, rushing ahead into the labyrinthine depths awaiting the pair. So... Back here again. Silence falls again, a stifling blanket that engulfs the pair. Just when it starts to become unbearable, it's broken by a low, reedy whining sound. Will you stop that? What's the matter now? Don't like my whistling? To be frank, it sounds more like someone strangling a cat. Rude. I ain't scared of you, know? I mean, what's there to be scared of? It's just a creepy basement. In a freaky magical hotel. Yes, nothing to be scared of at all. Can you let go of my arm? I think I'm starting to lose circulation. Oh, sorry. Luke's hand jerks away, rising up with palms out, while he gives Kota a sheepish grin. The two continue down the passageway, and while neither of them acknowledges it, their shoulders continue to press each other, as if confirming their presence. And then they turn on the last corner and stand on the threshold of their destination. When he'd been down here assisting, as much as he could, at least with getting the Wi-Fi to work, Kota had been able to find distractions from the oppressive wrongness that filled the room. But now there's no one to serve the snacks or tea to, no chattering a certain over-enthusiastic woman, and the feeling of clenches like a fist around his old, battering heart. After you. No, please, I insist, after you. Nah, it's fine. Ladies first, right? Truly, I beg your pardon? On 3. That would be acceptable. Alright, here goes. 1, 2, 3. The griffin lets out an involuntary squawk as he rushes into the room. He flinches and raises his fists when he hears low, deep rumbling. Then he realizes the sound's coming from behind. Kota is still standing in the entrance of the room, hiding a small smile behind his hand. Asshole. Come on now, Mr. Walker. Aren't you once always telling me to lighten up? Luke's beak opens, and then falls shut. Opens, then falls shut. The griffin rubs the back of his head and lets out a quiet laugh. Now then, the telescope? Yeah. The griffin moves forward one of the tables and starts searching through the stacks of documents. Lucian said those what lists should be over here, right? That's correct. Kota watches Luke rifle through the papers, wincing as a few drops off to the scatter on the floor, while the griffin makes a mess of Asterion's handiwork. The dragon's gaze begins to wander to the wall of Asterion, filling half the room, to the bottomless basin at the center of the massive chamber, to the piled up instruments along the wall, and then to the folders lined up on the other nearby table. Contracts. Kota isn't sure at first what draws him to approach and begin flipping those folders, but as he hums to himself, he searches out names, descriptions, anything that might spark a single hint of familiarity. When he had asked Lucian and Asterion, they both had said they didn't know any of the guests like that man he was searching for. It wasn't like he didn't believe them, but perhaps it was further in the past than Asterion's family could remember. Perhaps Lucian, being new and inexperienced, wouldn't even know where to look in the records. Perhaps it wasn't the Red Dragon, but one of the names Kota had sought out when his journey began, hiding somewhere in those pages. Perhaps. It was less than unlikely, but the mere possibility was like an insistent itch, and Kota had long ago lost the ability to resist scratching. Wait a moment. Ah! The piercing shriek derails Kota's train of thought, and then something warm, feathery, and smelling of bacon, grease, and musk slams into his side and wraps his arms tight around him. Gah! Luke, what are you... Let go of me. There's something over there. The dragon's eyes follow Luke trembling's finger towards a nearby pile of junk. He's about to speak, and then the sound of pattering feet cut him off. A shadow moved behind one of the tables. Something breathed in the heavy silence. Kota looks at Luke. Luke looks at Kota. Well, come on now. Let's see what it is. Kota edges towards the source of the sound. Luke, meanwhile, takes a moment to grab a heavy paperweight before following. Slow, careful, quiet, they edge towards whatever is in there with them. Luke looks at Kota. Kota looks at Luke. Dragon nods, and a silent sound begins. Oh, a silent count begins. Okay. 1, 2, 3. This is where I'll leave off the video for today. Today we noticed that our bull boy is very in the clouds and not there with us at the moment. Alright guys. Hey. Alright. This is where I'll leave off the video, and today we noticed that Asterion is not there with us. Well, not really there with us. He's like in his own head, kinda. Kinda like when you, I don't know, are worried for a game or something with the future intels and stuff. This is possibly what's happening to our very on-screen bull that we see right here. With his thick fingers. Wow. He's huge and looking sad. We then go to Kota and Luke, and we tell them about Asterion, how he's doing. Which is not really so good at the moment, but it's something. We let them be aware, so they don't, like, get on his feelings and stuff. Kota and Luke also go off to the bedrock floor, and they find something possibly dangerous. Or mysterious. We'll never know. I guess we will know soon. I'll see you guys later. Thank you for watching.